Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Paula. Thanks for joining me for yet another little video. Today we're going to be talking about how to interact with the type of folks that might consistently attack you intellectually, and how to interact with them in a way that is not exhausting to you and which does not require you to come up with some better than or energetically matched argument. It's more vulnerable than that. It's about getting a little softer than that, if it feels safe to do so in front of the particular person in your life who might do this to you. So, a little more context about who these people are, what it feels like to interact with them. And I must say, I've got a surprising amount of folks that I see in one-on-one settings that have people like this in their life. And I think it's bred into, especially Western society, that the intellect is very important and that it's a very good tool to use to relate to people. I don't think it's ever explicitly presented that way, but if you work on your intellect enough, it is supposed to get you places in life. We learn this subtly, unconsciously, I think, in university, and I gotta say, in my past, I have definitely been the person being too intellectually sharp, and by that I don't mean like, oh, I had these incredible arguments. Maybe to someone it seemed that way, but I mean like literally prickly. Like I wasn't relating to the person in front of me all the time. I wanted to dominate the room with my opinion. Something like that. Because it got you a reward, right? Like it got you the A, it got you the next place in university, it got you in favorable positions from professors. I have a pretty long background in academia. I was there for so long. So undoing this pattern. And just seeing it a little more clearly and, placing the intellect in its proper position in life is really important, because if you have felt bullied by someone and they use their intellect kind of against the people in front of them, you know how it's intimidating, how scary it is to be in that position sometimes. So we're talking like, without knowing this man on a personal level, but we're talking like the Ben Shapiros of the world, the Jordan Petersons, this kind of just like really intellect forward social persona. So if this happens to you, here's what it can feel like on the receiving end to be in front of people like this. It probably makes you go away a little bit, disappear, or feel like you're cloaked over energetically, because it is like experiencing an emotional or an energetic attack. Your body is responding the correct way to that stuff. It's kind of like a freeze response happening through you. So if you feel like you get struck dumb, you literally can't speak, you can't get a comeback out, or you can't, your words are just jumbled up in here, your thoughts are jumbled, you couldn't make a coherent argument back to them, you couldn't defend yourself if your life depended on it, not in the moment, then you are most likely going through some kind of dissociative response. Again, it's a protective response. That's what dissociation is for. Some kind of even like a shock response. Because when our hearts are connected to someone, especially if this person's like in your family, you've got the heart connection, it's kind of innate. And when they mistreat you, your whole body's just like, holy crap, I don't think this is supposed to be happening from this person, but like, is this really happening? And so we are like frozen in time. And meanwhile, this other person, again, I can only make assumptions about how the other person is or where their kind of intellectual attack is coming from within them. Some people do not know they're there, and they don't know that they're cutting off the ability to relate to you in those moments. So I'm assuming that if you want to work on this with this person, that most of the time outside of these situations, this person is emotionally safe. This person isn't just like throwing deep insults and really personal attacks at you to destroy your ego, hurt your feelings, like wiggle in under your heart and just hurt. That's more of like a straight up abuse situation, so the solutions I'm going to talk about today may not be applicable in that situation, okay? Don't throw yourself under a bus here if this person is just like, oh, wild. If this person just doesn't know they're doing it, doesn't realize how intense they get, and otherwise you do want to relate to them and you do have a safe time with them, that's the green light. After these situations happen, you probably like go to your shower, any place that helps you feel cozy and kind of wind down. And then when you're in there, when you're regulated in there, when you're coming back down, then you're able to feel your emotions. Then you feel the anger. Then you feel the righteous, like, unjustness of being exposed to that kind of energy. Then you have that perfect shower argument. And the shampoo-bottles fucking know who's boss, don't they? But the person out there never gets to see that. There is a very reasonable explanation as to why your body goes through that pattern. It's not that you're meek and defenseless and can't get your shit together, okay? I have heard clients talk about themselves in that way, and it's heartbreaking because it tells me a lot about how normalized it was for them to exist in front of people who it really felt like they were bullying them. And so, this has nothing to do with you not being able to defend yourself. And the answer won't be in me teaching you how to come back online as fast as possible and have that perfect comeback. It's not about that, if you want to relate to this person. So, what you actually could try out, if you want to, again, if it feels safe to do it in front of this person, is softening in to the dissociation. Noticing how it is for you to experience these sharp, jagged, emotional or energetic attacks from this person. Notice where it is in your body. Notice where you feel yourself constricting, tensing up. Those are great responses of a healthy body when it's receiving attacking energy. You are not broken. Your body's working perfectly given what it's experiencing, okay? So, don't be freaked out by that, and the more you kind of normalize it for yourself, I hope that that really rests in your mind. This is a good response. This is an appropriate response. And so I always mention this in my sessions, but use your hands as little healing pads. So this might be while the person is still talking in the moment, but just take your hands when you've become aware enough to know, like, oh, the thing is happening for me. Just take your hand to wherever you're feeling your body kind of disappear. The goal is not to bring yourself back. The goal is just to acknowledge. You might come back. That's great. But just unthaw a little bit. Just be like, oh my gosh. Oh, I'm noticing I'm going away. Wherever it feels like the energy is kind of fuzzy. Because you can really experience that if you dissociate a lot. You might relate to the fuzziness, like the TV static feeling. I get it a lot in my head if this is happening. Everything kind of rushes up here because I'm trying to think better, right? And your heart kind of closes off, so going to your heart area can feel really good. Some of you guys might even relate to being a little bit more aware of your lower belly area. Just coming back online, anywhere at all. And you know what? Making eye contact with the person in front of you. Again, if it feels safe, and it's interesting sometimes to realize when you are going away, when you're dissociating a little bit, eye contact is hard. Eye contact is hard at the best of times because it really spotlights us. But see if you can hold it. See if you can just make it for a moment. And ask them really softly, whoa, 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 whoa. Can we just slow this whole thing down? Can we just look at each other? Now, if eye gazing feels like a lot, because it is honestly like, it's a very energetically heightened form of connection, there's other ways too. But just asking them to slow it down could be really helpful. Telling them how it feels for you to experience this kind of energetic attack. Up to you if you use that word or not, but you can use softer ways to describe the situation. You can say, like, when we're having conversations like this, it actually really gets me in defense mode. I feel myself going away and kind of just like disappearing, and I feel like we're not connected. and I want to stay connected through this. Is there a way we can just pause and pay attention to the fact that we're drifting right now? And you know what? I hope this is an invitation for the other person too, to notice what their body's going through. And so maybe just holding each other's hand for the moment is what needs to happen. Maybe if you're comfortable enough with this person, they could rub your back. Anything that feels good for you. Physical touch might not be your thing. It might be words of affirmation. We're basically putting on the love languages here. We're slowing down each other's protective responses. And you don't necessarily have to stop the conversation. But a lot of times, it's this place right here relating to each other through the stickiness, through the points that, part of us really, really wants to make. The part of us that really wants to be right. Making it through that and really working with the layers of emotions that come up and help protect us when all of that stuff gets involved. This is what makes interacting and healing really juicy. This is the stuff of healing work. It's slowing down enough so that you can pay attention to the layers of emotion that actually block you from really being with the person in front of you. In essence, that's what it is. We're just leaning into all of these mechanisms that otherwise just happen so quickly and so unconsciously, and they're fantastic and I appreciate the mechanisms. I think they're amazing. They're amazing physiological responses. But they don't serve and they don't keep us connected, so we're really just slowing down. So if you feel like you want to still keep talking about the topic, and maybe you don't need to take space, I do encourage taking a little bit of space though. That can be really, really helpful. But when you do come back, go at the pace of your body. Stay with what you need. Notice when you feel like you have to defend yourself or get yourself seen a certain way. You're working too hard, man. You should never have to fight to be seen by the person in front of you. And certainly not by yourself too. So, go nice and slow. Keep your voice low. Keep your voice slow. Breathe more between sentences. Encourage the other person in front of you to do the same. You can still hold hands while you're doing this too. But I do find it's really nice too, whenever you are rational, whenever, this heated moment is over, when both of you are rational, and you just have a moment together and it's nice and neutral, let them know what you go through whenever you get into a conversation that has that energetic flavor, where they are dominating you intellectually, and then you are kind of turtle shelling it up in response to that. Let them know, my friend. And get curious. What is it like for them to feel really protected like that? What is it like for them to kind of go into intellect mode? How quickly does it happen? What's the mechanism like? And if you really want to get nice and internal family systems-y with this is another modality that I absolutely love, especially for complex trauma. Ask them, the part of them that gets really intellectual, what does it look like? Does it look like them, but with, glasses on or something? Does it have a notepad? What's it wearing? How old does it feel? Does it look like them? Does it look like something else? And the part of you that gets really, what does that look like? Do they have a body? Do you get a sense of when this part was formed? Does it remind you of another moment or set of moments or relationships from your past? And then we're starting to kind of untangle the threads, the really deep threads of these protective responses. Because it's crazy, but parts therapy, the more you do it, the more you do acknowledge that you might have multiple parts in you that compose a greater you. All of these parts are really fascinating, and all of these parts really just want to be related to. I find this across the board is the most transformative aspect of using internal family systems, because it requests that we slow down enough that we start to make, if not friends, relationships with our trauma responses. Instead of kicking to the side or wishing that they weren't there, or hoping that someday we'll be regulated 24/7. Hint, hint, you will never be, especially if you've been through trauma. It really does change us for the long haul, but it makes getting to know our symptoms and living alongside our symptoms so much less of a grind and more of a feeling of like holding hands with yourself. And then you get to also realize that it's not so bad to learn how to hold hands with other people's protective responses as well, given that to a healthy extent, they are willing to also do their own work. Of course, you should never be doing the emotional labor or the emotional heavy lifting for someone else who is just like completely oblivious to what share is theirs. That's a recipe for codependence and disaster and burnout. So, let me know if this makes sense, if this helps you at all, if you have any other questions, or if you have any other scenarios with someone else in your life that you either have found some fantastic techniques to help you solve it or move through it, or if you have some stuckness, please put it in the comments below. And once again, my name is Paula, so I do one-on-one coaching for folks with complex trauma, and I use shadow work. I use internal family systems, which we very briefly touched on here. I also use somatics, body work, getting into the body's processes. So if you're interested in working one-on-one with me, it's a very cozy container. I work with folks either for 6 months or for a year, so I want it to be, it's a long-term relationship, because relationships are usually where we got hurt. Relationships are usually where we have a great opportunity to heal. So it's a non-clinical setting, because if you haven't already guessed, I am not a clinician. I've worked with some very unorthodox teachers, I suppose, and so I use the methods both that they have taught me, that have worked deeply for me, and which continue to work for the clients that I see myself. So, links to my stuff will be in the bio below. I also have a little Instagram family. If you'd like to come over there and join us there, you're very, very welcome. And I will see you with another video soon. Take care. Remember to go at the pace of your body. Notice what your body is up to when you're having an average conversation. There's a lot going on in your internal world all the time, my friends. Get curious. That's all I wish for you. Get curious about you.